Hello everyone. I want to thank you once again for your support on the first video in this series. The second one here took me a while to produce due to some writer's block with the script, but I really do hope that all of you enjoy this video. Today we'll be covering one of the most famous and infamous titans to ever live in the world of Destiny. Today, we'll be talking about a man whose fall from grace into the depths of hatred and violence inspired others to walk in his shadow. Today, we'll be talking about Razel Azir, better known as Dredgen Yor. Dredgen Yor wasn't always the evil and violent individual we mostly know him as, and he didn't always wield Thorn. His journey begins during a period in Destiny's history called the Dark Age. This period of time was marked as being after the collapse of humanity, but before the rise of the Last City. A time of warlords and iron lords, of dragon slayers, a time of uncertainty and fear, but also a time of fragile hope, as rumors of a safe haven beneath the traveler spread. Razel Azir was a champion of this era, providing hope to the huddled masses of humanity. He participated in the faction wars during the early days of the city. He fought off droves of fallen from small settlements. He was a savior and a legendary guardian that many could look up to. Razel wasn't satisfied with his victories against the fallen, however. He sought to further protect the fledgling city growing beneath the Traveler. We learn of this discontentment in the Before These Walls Grimoire card. As the first walls formed, built of hard work and sacrifice, Razel and the Guardians stood against the alien plunderers time and time again. More survivors arrived, more warriors. The Guardians' ranks swelled, the city grew. Hope blossomed. To Razel it was a currency. Hope bought tomorrow. Tomorrow bought the effort needed to survive today. Yet, Razel grew weary. Stories haunted his nights. Old stories. Those no longer told. Those locked behind tight lips for fear of what they may invoke. Whenever the sun dropped below the horizon and the moon rose high, Razel's thoughts wandered. How safe was safe? How long could they fight with the darkness still writhing? So, every day, Razel would fight and build and protect. And every day a city grew beneath the giant. And every night he would think about all that was never said and stare intently at the moon above. In order to assuage his unrest, he would make his way to Luna, our moon, where he would confront a terrible, corrupting evil, the Hive. It was there on the moon that Razel Azir would enter the Hellmouth to confront the immense darkness of the Hive and their wicked sword logic. His battle is recounted in the Grimoire card, The Triumphant Fall. The trigger clicked. Another empty clip slid from its purchase and dropped onto the dark stone floor. It was the last. His rifle was dry. Razel spun the weapon in his hand, grabbing hard around the barrel like a club. A new wave of chittering death was upon him, fragile but aggressive, overwhelming in their number and oppressive in their rage. The stock of the rifle connected with skull after skull. They caved and fell, like the others before. The pile of vanquished nightmares, half bone, half dust, grew at Razel's feet. There was a calm to him, an ease. The chaos of battle was no time to panic. His swing was wide but measured, no wasted movement. A demon clawed at his back, then another. They were heavier than their frail frames would suggest. He gave a shrug and shake, turned and hammered the stock hard into the side of one of the creature's temple. Its skull splintered and the stock lodged deep in the wet, chalky mass beneath the bone. He made a fleeting effort to break the rifle free, but had to let it fall away as the rush of demons increased. Razel kicked another monster to the floor, stepping on its neck while shifting to backhand a throng of attackers eager to make their killing lunge. If the rifle, his battle-worn Inferno, had served to thin the herd and buy Razel time to assess the whole of the situation, his Rose would see it through. It always had. The Titan, awash in the ash and gore of his enemies, pulled his cannon and in one motion feathered the trigger to level the wretched beast closest to him. The bloom from each shot lit the cavern with flashes of red heat, a garden of angry roses blossoming in pointed defiance of this vile, hateful kingdom of shadows. On the far end of the sea of gnashing maws, the wicked woman danced in the air, watching. Waiting? Razel's cannon was loaded and ready to fire as if an afterthought. He let loose another barrage and 6 more demons slumped lifeless upon the pile. The witch unleashed a violent cry, and as quickly as it had begun, the onslaught subsided. The chittering fell from a deafening roar to an eerie chorus of humming through the ebon haze just beyond his sight. Razel stood, straightened his tired back, and took long, deep breaths. The storm had not been weathered. He could feel it in his gut. He stood now, not at peace, but within the eye, the swirling, terrible lull before the waves came crashing once more. The wicked woman laughed, a horrid, grating screech, followed by footsteps, heavy and hard. Doom, 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 doom. Razel squinted against the dark as he slid a new lead into his cannon cylinder. A shape took form, approaching from the deep, a being of might and mass that dwarfed the Titan. A cleaver the size of an ordinary man, bigger, hung effortlessly in its hand. Its body was thick with ornate bone, a living armor that was one with the beast. Razel let out an accepting sigh. The creature walked like a man burdened by untold sin, lumbering and slow, though its stride covered the ground with unnatural ease. To Razel, the approaching horror cut an imposing silhouette not unlike that of an ancient, disgraced knight. Maybe it had been heroic once. Maybe here, in these shadows, to the watchful eyes of the wicked woman and her rotting horde, it was a hero still, only for a darker, sinister cause. The thought intrigued Razel. The fight he had come all this way to find, the enemy he had hoped was nothing but a legend's lie, seemed eager to greet him. He smiled beneath his helm, then spun his rose with a confident hunter's twirl, before steadying his aim and fanning its hammer once more. The angry bloom lit the dark. 6 shots, center mass. Razel's lead pinged off a sudden, shimmering wall of black. The knight had conjured a protective barrier as if from nothing. Unable to comprehend the creature's arcane methods, dark magic or unimagined tech, or even a joining of the two, Razel didn't care. He reloaded and prepared to face the unknown. As the ethereal shield faded, the beast raised its blade and let loose an aggressive, inhuman roar, Hell's own battle cry. Razel accepted the challenge. His rose gripped tightly in a vice grip. The Titan charged forward. He would meet the Shadow's rage head-on. 2 days had passed since Razel stepped from the dark corridors beneath the moon back into the light. His ghost pressed him for details time and again. He wanted to know all he could of the wicked woman and her promise of suffering, of the sea of mindless, chittering death, of the hulking knight and Razel's epic battle. The ghost was enthralled and deeply concerned. If the monsters below the moon were active and aware, the city must be warned. Razel agreed. As they watched another Earth rise from the lonely quiet of the lunar surface and planned their long journey home, Razel pulled fragmented bone from the pouch that hung on his left hip, a reminder of the evil that lurked beyond the light, and the last remnants of the wicked woman's betrothed. And while he recounted once more the events of his time in the shadows, took his rose from its holster and began grafting the bone to its steel frame. Just another trophy from another battle won. It was only later, and far too late, that the first whispers came and the bones revealed their true, jagged purpose. While Razel Azir would delve down into the Hellmouth with his rose at his side, Dredgen Yor would rise from it with his thorn. Its frame now grafted with jagged pieces of bone, began whispering to the murderer of Zior's betrothed. The fall of Razel Azir wasn't an abrupt plummet, but a gradual growing of darkness and sorrow within his heart, slowly corrupting the hero into something sinister. The slow fall and corruption of Razel is detailed in the Grimoire card Ghost Fragment Thorn. Slowly, the shadow's whisper became a voice, a dark call, offering glories enough to make even the brightest light wander. He knew he was fading, yet he still yearned. On his last day, he sat and watched the sun fall, his final thoughts of pure of mind if not body, held to a fleeting hope. Though they would suffer for the man he would become, the people would remember him as he had been. And so the noble man hid himself beneath a darkness no flesh could touch, and gave up his mortal self to claim a new birthright. Whether this was choice or destiny is a truth known only to fate. In that cool evening air, as dusk was devoured by night, the noble man ceased to exist. In his place, another stood. Same meat, same bone, but so very different. The first and only of his family, sole forebearer, and the last descendant of the name Yor. In his first moments as a new being, he looked down at his rose and realized for the first time that it held no petals, only the jagged purpose of angry thorns. With Razel gone, Dredgen Yor was set upon the world, carrying the miasma of hive corruption with him, with a singular purpose: to cause sorrow wherever he went. One of these exchanges with the Nabar is recounted in the Grimoire card Ghost Fragment Thorn 2. Can I see what you got there? Your cannon. Can I see it? I know you. Not that I can say. And you want to hold my peace. Just that I never seen one like it. No, you haven't. It looks dangerous. Seems maybe that's the point. Suppose so. Can I see it? Not likely. Where'd you find it? You hearing me? He asked you a question. Didn't find it. Made it. Hell of a touch you got then. You smith? I look like a smith. Looks can be deceiving. Got that right. There a problem? Doesn't need to be. Glad we got that cleared up. Now, about that piece. Been to Luna? Excuse me? The moon. You been? Nobody's been. That a truth? That's a fact. Funny you'd make that distinction. Truth is, you must think like you're some kind of something special with that attitude. The way you're just dismissing us like you were nothing. We're like we ain't even here. Fact is, you ain't near as rock solid as you figure. Fact is, special's only special till it's not. The bones say otherwise. Speak straight. You say nobody. Bones say otherwise. What bones? All of them. What are you getting at? Too many to count. You trying to get a rile out of us? was only making conversation. You really weren't. We got a smart one here. Experienced more than smart. But experience has its advantages. Experience telling you to lip off strangers just trying to make talk? Keep insisting and maybe we will. Talk? Have words. Ain't that what we're doing? My conversations tend to be a bit louder. That a threat? Truth. Who the hell do you think you are? According to your facts, nobody. Yet here I sit. Don't matter how pretty your cannon is, you keep it up, we'll just see how loud you like to get. You done talking? Guess he knows his place, boys. You ever have a nightmare? Playing games are just thick. I know you have. This world can't help but. I don't have nightmares. I'd give them. You are a goddamn cliche. Picture perfect bandit. Hearing your voice, the things you're saying, the shade of a hard man you pretend to be. I ain't no shade. Crack, crack, crack. Sit down. Sit down. Your mouth just got your friends dead. This is what happens when you bore me. And right now, I'm so very bored. What? No, listen. Shh. But you're one of them. A guardian, right? You're supposed to be one of the good ones. Supposed to be. Maybe I am. Maybe this is what good looks like. Who can tell anymore? You wanted to see my prize. No, look at it. Whimpering won't stop what comes next. Look. Look at it. Open your eyes. Not many get such a clean view. The bone, you see it? Jagged like thorns. It used to be a rose. I used to think of it that way, focusing on its bloom. The bloom is just a byproduct of its anger. You have nightmares? You ever seen a nightmare? Ever opened your eyes and realized the horror wasn't a dream? The terror wasn't gone? I've seen nightmares. They live in the shadows. They've been watching. I thought, it's foolish, you know. But I thought I saw a way. Maybe we could win. Maybe we could survive. But once you step into those shadows, it's so very hard to walk in the light. Or maybe I just wasn't strong enough. Maybe. But I feel strong now. I stole the dark. Or maybe it stole me. Either way, here we are. And I'm hungry. It's hungry. You have no light beyond the spark of your pathetic life. But a spark is something. Open your eyes. Crack. These acts of violence against the members of humanity would put a strain on the relationship of Dredgen Yor and his ghost until it would snap in a violent end. This is where I believe the moment in which Razel Azir ceased to be entirely. With the last flickering bit of light gone, all that remained was a seething darkness. Dredgen Yor, after killing Razel Azir's ghost and his light, proceeded to carve a path of pain and destruction through the settlements of humanity throughout the wildlands. In this path lay the small village of Palamon, where he would meet a young boy named Shin Malfur. The boy showed curiosity in Dredgen Yor, possibly glimpsing a small fragment of Razel beneath the veil of darkness and sorrow that Yor had coated himself in. In return for his curiosity, Yor would set the town of Palamon ablaze, killing all of its residents except for the lone boy he left in the middle of the burning wreckage. Yor would continue upon his path and later encounter a duel with Shin's adopted father and hunter-gunslinger Jaren Ward. Dredgen Yor would emerge victorious and taunt Jaren's ghost, in this exchange found within the Grimoire ghost fragment Thorn 4. Such darkness. Impressed? Far from it. To each their own. His light is faded. His light is gone. You are an infection. I am that which will cleanse. You are a monster. An old friend once saw me as the same. He was right. And had we met earlier, so too would you be. You dare defend yourself. All you've done as anything but monstrous. No more than a hurricane? Then you're a force of nature? I am all that is right. You may not see it, for lack of looking or blind ignorance, but I am all that is good. You've just murdered a good man. He shot first. Yet you stand. Guess he missed. He never misses. First time for everything. His cannon. Nice piece of hardware. Well worn, but clean. Smooth hammer. It was his prize. Guess he put too much faith in the wrong steel. Is that where your faith lies? In steel? Not for some time. My steel is only an extension. My faith is in the shadow. Then my light is an affront to all you are. I am your truest enemy. One of many. Would you end me? Not you. Not now. The shadow knows mercy. The shadow knows no such thing. Then what? The other. What other? The dead man's charge. The boy. You'd end him as well? If it comes to that, we'll see. I won't let you have the child. Been long enough now. Think maybe he's a man. You cannot have him. Not yet. I won't let you. That you could stop me is an amusing thought. Here. Take it. Why? Give the apprentice his master's sword. It is a gift. You cannot have him. You fear for his light? He is special. Yes. I am aware. You're trying to tempt him. You're feeding his anger. The gun is a memento. Nothing more. You claim to be a vessel, a hollow shell where a man once stood. But that is just a lie. The man is still in you. There is no man here. I am now, and for the rest of time, Only Dredgen Yor, the eternal abyss. So not all forgotten languages are dead. Hide behind whatever titles you wish. It is still all a facade. No force of nature would play such games. Games? The cannon. You wish to tempt the boy, to spur him on and fuel his rage. There is intent there. The actions of a man, monstrous, mad, or otherwise. You are nothing more. And what value does your conclusion bring? Flawed as it may be. That a hurricane can only be weathered, not stopped, not redirected. A force of nature is uncaring and without intent, but a man... Yes, a man is none of those things. A man can be killed. And there it is. There what is? A sliver of hope. Dredgen Yor would send Jaren Ward's ghost and his weapon back to Shin Malphur, and would continue upon his way. He would finally meet his match and his end at Dwindler's Ridge. His death is recounted by Shin Malphur in the Grimoire card Ghost Fragment, the last word 4. We stood silent, the sun high. Seconds passed, feeling more like hours. He looked different. He seemed now to be weightless, effortless in an existence that would crush a man burdened by conscience. My gaze remained locked as I felt a heat rising inside of me. The other spoke. Been a while. I gave no reply. The gunslinger's sword. His cannon. That was a gift. My silence held as my thumb caressed the perfectly worn hammer at my hip. An offering from me to you. The heat grew, centered in my chest. I felt like a coward the day Jaren Ward died, and for many cycles after. But here, I felt only the fire of my light. The other probed. Nothing to say? He let the words hang. I've been waiting for you. For this day. His attempt at conversation felt mundane and judged against all that had come before. Many times I thought you'd faltered. Given up. All I'd lost. All who'd suffered. Flashed rapid through my mind. Intercut with a dark silhouette walking towards a frightened, weak coward of a boy. The fire burned in me. The other continued. But here you are. This is truly an end. As his tongue slipped between syllables, my gun hand moved as if of its own will. Reflex and purpose merged with anger, clarity, and an overwhelming need for just that, an end. In step with my motion, the fire within burst into focus, through my shoulder, down my arm. As my finger closed on the trigger of my third father's cannon, 2 shots. 2 bullets engulfed in an angry glow. The other fell. I walked to his corpse. He never raised his cursed thorn, the jagged gun, the festering sickness. I looked down at the dead man who caused so much death. My shooter still embraced with the dancing flames of my light. Sadness came over me. I thought back to my earliest days of Palamon, of Jaren. Leveling my cannon at the dead man's helm, I paid one final tribute to my mentor, my savior, my father, and my friend. Yours, not mine. As I closed my grip along Jaren's cannon, now my own, to have the last loud word. With that legendary duel ended, Dredgen Yor would be defeated, and the man once known as Razel Azir would be put to rest. His corrupting influence would persist, however. The infamy he had gained from his terrible thorn would continue to tempt and sway Guardians, seeking more power through darker means. The shadows of yore would be founded in his name, and many would seek to replicate the properties of light-suppressing force that were found in Thorn, creating malfeasance. The gun would continue to be a force of darkness and a reminder of its corruption until it was gifted to us by Shin. We would proceed to cleanse it of its sorrow and hatred and turn it into a weapon of healing and light, known as Lumina. Perhaps it is this action that finally set Razel to rest and helped to diminish the corrupting influence of Dredgen Yor. I want to thank all of you again for watching this video. I am looking forward to getting into some of the more main characters in Destiny's story now that we're kind of reaching the end of all the storytelling that's going to be going on before the final shape. So I believe we're going to be starting to cover more of the main characters and characters that players interact with more. So I am looking forward to having you guys be more involved with that. But yeah, just wanted to thank you guys again, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, and stay safe out there, Guardians. Till next time.